Why you can't escape comparison culture? It's a truth universally acknowledged that we are all, to some degree, caught in the undertow of comparison. The feeling is as ancient as human society itself, but in the modern era, it has morphed into a pervasive, inescapable cultural force. This isn't just about occasionally wondering if your neighbor's lawn is greener. It's a constant, low-grade hum in the background of your consciousness, dictated by platforms designed to showcase curative perfection. To truly understand why we can't seem to break free, we have to look beyond the surface-level critique of social media and dive into the deeper psychological, historical, and even neurological roots of this phenomenon. The evolutionary imperative of social benchmarking. The first and perhaps most compelling reason for the persistence of comparison culture is our evolutionary wiring. For our ancestors, knowing where they stood in the tribe wasn't a matter of ego, it was a matter of survival. Social benchmarking served as a critical tool for self-assessment. Are you strong enough to hunt? Are you resourceful enough to secure shelter? The answers to these questions were relative. Comparing yourself to the strongest or most capable members of your group provided a swift, visceral understanding of your own deficits and the necessary areas for improvement. This need to establish a social hierarchy and your place within it is deeply ingrained. In the modern world, the stakes are lower. It's not a saber-toothed tiger we're running from, but our brain hasn't updated its operating system. We still compulsively gauge our value, status, and competence against others. This is the cognitive bias known as the Dunning-Kruger effect's inverse, where we are simultaneously prone to overestimate our own abilities and to catastrophize the competence of our peers. The panopticon of perpetual performance. The rise of the digital age hasn't just exacerbated comparison, it has fundamentally altered its mechanism. We no longer just compare our real life to that of our immediate community. We compare our messy three-dimensional reality to the perfectly edited two-dimensional highlight reels of thousands of strangers. The term for this constant unseen surveillance is the panopticon effect. Initially coined to describe a prison design where inmates feel they are constantly being watched. Online, we become both the self-governing inmate and the watchful guard. Every action, every purchase, every life milestone is performed with the subconscious awareness that it might be judged by a vast silent audience. This leads to performance pressure, a compulsion to not only achieve, but to document the achievement in an aesthetically pleasing and envy-inducing way. Furthermore, the algorithms of these platforms are specifically designed to feed us content that maximizes engagement, and few things are more engaging than that pang of envy. They prioritize the aspirational, the extreme, and the seemingly unattainable, essentially creating a never-ending loop of upward social comparison. This is a psychological trap because upward comparison, while motivating in small doses, is generally detrimental to self-esteem and happiness when encountered relentlessly. It conditions our brains to view the world through a lens of lack rather than abundance. The tyranny of vague metrics and lifestyle inflation. In the past, societal status was often measured by tangible, finite metrics: land ownership, professional title, or the size of your house. While often unequal, these were relatively clear benchmarks. Today, the comparison metrics are frustratingly vague, leading to a state of chronic dissatisfaction. We aren't just comparing careers, we are comparing authenticity, work-life balance, mindfulness, and fulfillment. These are subjective concepts that are impossible to accurately measure, yet we use the glossy images of others to define them. This fuzziness drives what sociologists call lifestyle inflation. It's not simply keeping up with the Joneses, but keeping up with an idealized, globalized version of the Joneses, who are simultaneously running a successful side hustle, meditating for 2 hours a day, traveling to remote locales, and flawlessly raising trilingual children, all while looking effortlessly chic. This composite ideal is not a real person. It is a Frankenstein's monster of cultural aspirations, and yet we hold ourselves to its impossible standard. The financialization of every hobby and personal interest further complicates this. A passion is no longer a simple joy. It must be a personal brand or a potential income stream. This transforms simple comparison into a feeling of economic failure if your interests aren't monetized or optimized. The expectation is not merely competence, but optimized excellence in all domains. A relentless pursuit that makes opting out feel like falling behind. The power of narrative, crafting an exit strategy. To acknowledge that comparison culture is escapable is not to surrender to it, but to recognize its structural reality. The way out, or at least the way to mitigate its toxic effects, is to shift our internal narrative. The key lies in understanding the difference between the highlight reel and the behind the scenes. We must consciously practice downward social comparison, focusing on our genuine progress relative to our past selves, and lateral social comparison, seeking out peers for collaboration and shared experience, not competition. Ultimately, freedom from comparison begins with the radical acceptance that the person you are comparing yourself to is a character in a story, and that you are only privy to their perfectly edited trailer. If this deep dive into the human condition resonated with you, imagine the conversations we could start. Hit that like button to send a signal to the algorithm gods that you crave more thought-provoking content. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next analysis, and most importantly, drop a comment below with your personal strategies for dealing with the pressure of comparison. Let's create a community where vulnerability is the new aspiration.